On May 19th, 1926, God sent a beautiful baby girl into the world. Her birth name was Betty Evangeline, and she was born in a home for unwed mothers in Columbus, Ohio, to her 22-year-old white mother, Nevada Caroline Osborne. A few months later, in October 1926, after revising Betty's birth certificate to indicate that her father was a colored man, Nevada placed her baby into an orphanage, where she was adopted by a black couple, Enoch and Jemima Cherry. Betty then became Joreece Cherry, and later in life, she changed her name to Joreece Vantina Cherry. Enoch and Jemima also had two older sons, Samuel and Dennis, whom Joreece adored. When Joreece was 14, she attended Mary Potter High School, a boarding school in North Carolina. During her time there, she struck up friendships with three other students from Columbus, Ohio, Glenn Jr. and his sisters Thelma and Cleo, the Sweeneys. It wasn't until 50-plus years later when the Sweeneys' mother revealed to Joreece that her close friends were her biological siblings and their father, Glenn Sweeney Sr., was in fact Joreece's biological father. This revelation brought immense joy to all the siblings, who were delighted to discover their true connection and continued to strengthen their bond as a family over the following years. When Joreece would come home from school for the summer, she worked in a drugstore and as a babysitter. But it was her captivating smile, charming dimples, and flawless physique that propelled her into the world of beauty contests. It was at one of these contests that she met her future husband, Harold Lloyd Smith, who at the time was 19 years old. Joreece, who was 15, was surprised when her mother allowed her to attend Harold's birthday party at his parents' home, but it seemed both families were content with the two getting to know one another. The year 1942 proved to be an emotional one, with Joreece at only 16 grieving the devastating loss of her mother, and during the same time, Harold graduated from The Ohio State University and was called to serve his country in the 92nd Infantry of the Buffalo Soldiers in World War II. He asked Joreece to see him off to service at the train station, and she agreed. While away, Harold would send photos documenting his experience, and the two exchanged love letters, marking this the moment when Joreece would look back and say, quote, "That is when I fell in love with him." After his honorable discharge in 1946, Harold returned home to Ohio. He proposed to Joreece on her birthday that year, and they were married just 3 months later on August 4th, 1946. And from the looks of this photo, their honeymoon was not lacking a good time. Joreece and Harold's lives were happily steered in a new direction. They welcomed their first child, Ricardo Van, in 1948, followed by daughters Tanya Denise in 1951 and Candace Cherie in 1956. Joreece took immense pride in cultivating a warm and nurturing Christian household for her husband and children, fostering a very loving and joyful environment for her family. And when her youngest child was in high school, Joreece decided to enter the workforce, eventually ascending to the position of executive director at Southside Daycare Center, from which she retired years later. Sadly, Harold passed away on Christmas Day in 1993. They shared 47 years of marriage, enjoying a life and family rich with love and adventure. And you can clearly see the love, as they were not shy to be affectionate in public. Also, who do we think this photographer is? Do we think they hired this person? They're always around, catching them kissing. I have questions. Some years after Harold's passing, Joreece was happy to uncover even more about her biological parents, and more that she had an older maternal half-sister named Eva. Unfortunately, both her parents and sister had passed away, but despite never meeting them, Joreece bought headstones for her mother Nevada and sister Eva, where they are buried in Marion. Luckily, through a connection between Joreece's daughter Candace and Jane Osborne Jones, a relative of Nevada, Joreece was able to meet her sister Eva's daughter and granddaughter, Peggy Jo and Heather, in 2022. Throughout the years, Joreece was an active member in various clubs and community groups, namely The Board, a small and close-knit women's social club. And as told by Joreece, this group was the perfect get-out-of-work card. "Oh, I'm so sorry, I must go. I have a board meeting to attend." Each membership heavily contributed to her rich tapestry of community engagement and social connections. Joreece and Harold particularly loved the themed parties that these clubs held, all the costumes and characters, and as you can see, there wasn't a single ounce of creativity spared, as I think that may really be Caesar and Cleopatra. Wild. Joreece embraced a deep love for all things creative, which was reflected in the hobby she chose as well as the look and feel of her home. 1715 Clifton Avenue was the home to Joreece and her family for many years, and it was pure magic. Okay, I'm a romantic, and yes, I may have been a little girl during most of my time spent in that house, but I'm sure all of us who experienced Clifton would agree. Whether it was the mural on the entryway wall or the indoor patio fit with both a pond and a bar, I'm sure most of us have a specific memory we carry around and look back on fondly. It was the perfect place for entertaining friends and family, but it was also a place you could feel safe and loved. As much as Joreece enjoyed creating a wonderful home life for her family, she also played a pivotal role as a founding member of Bethany Presbyterian Church. In 2010, Joreece undertook the task of documenting the church history for Bethany Presbyterian Church, a project that was later published and stood as one of her most cherished achievements. Joreece's life was enriched by love, joy, and a lot of laughter brought on by those around her. She departed from this world knowing the immense love that always surrounded her. Joreece wrote, "I am grateful to God for the wonderful life He has blessed me with." And we are grateful that God blessed us with Joreece Vantina Smith. She will be greatly missed by all who loved her. Grandma, I must say that I will miss you. And I would say goodbye for now, but in Joreece's most often used responses, this is not goodbye. It is only a so long until we see each other again.